Most people think you need to buy a property to venture into the Airbnb business here in Africa. But that's simply not true. In fact, I want to show you a much smarter way that doesn't require any capital investment, any licenses in the first place, and you don't even need to be on the ground, at least when you're starting out. There are different approaches to starting an Airbnb business here in the African continent. So for instance, what you could do in the first place would be just rent out one room of your own apartment. So you can generate some of the money back that you spent on rent, or maybe even cover it entirely. There's the option to buy property right away, or to build something yourself from the get-go. And here's what most people don't realize, that you can start your Airbnb business as a co-host. And what a co-host is simply you are the person who takes charge of the entire online presence of the Airbnb listing, for instance. So you optimize the listing to generate more revenue. You optimize the images, the descriptions, and everything else that's physically visible for the potential guests to get more bookings in. But also you take care of the entire backend stuff, like the calendar, like the pricing options, automations to make the processes faster and easier for you and the host. None of this requires you to invest a single dime in it, because you can simply check out on Airbnb existing properties, even that in the higher end market, where you see that they have a lot of potential, but they don't utilize the property as much as they could, because they're not getting a high occupancy rate. They're not charging the nightly rate that they could if you compare the prices with the competitors. And this is what you want to change for them. So simply what your job is to make the host more money and then take a cut as a commission because you made the host more money. And the problem you're solving here is quite clear, because most hosts, or oftentimes hosts, do this as a side hustle. They do this not with their full energy, and you can simply take over these operations, make them more money with less time investment, so you save them time and make them more money. And in the end of the day, you can charge, of course, because you made them more money, and this without them being involved at all anymore in the process. So therefore, I think this is an underutilized option right now, that you could even start from abroad just to get a feeling for the market, understand how Airbnb here works actually, and what works, how to coordinate maybe with the cleaners, how to set up the systems, the automations in the backend, that you also save a lot of time and that you don't have to be involved in it 24 hours and like be consistently on the phone or on the screen. So for me, it's the best way of entering the Airbnb business, because once again, I want to really empathize, because you have no cash investment, you have less time that you need to invest upfront. The only job you have is reaching out maybe for 1 hour a day while you're having a job abroad or whatever you do, just for 1 hour a day, and see that one host wants your support, wants your assistance after you presented your offer, and then once you make that sale, you can start even from today. So it's a very lean and easy way to venture in this kind of business, and this even from abroad, from a different country. And once again, you don't need a business license at that point. You don't need a tourism license, what's also required in many African countries to start an Airbnb business. You can just try out this business model and see if it works or if it doesn't for you. So from there, then you can make your decision later on if you want to venture into the business actually and build your own Airbnbs, or if you just get and onboard new clients that you basically manage their properties, and then eventually later on you can even then hire people that help you once you have real structures and systems in place. And now to give you also a practical tip how to start this, even because it sounds interesting, but if you don't have any practical tips, it's difficult. But the way you do it, simply go onto the Airbnb like app or website, filter for some properties, for example in Nairobi, and look for some that are having a lot of potential but they are underutilized yet. So if you check out that they're in a good location, they have maybe good photos but they could be ordered in a better way, or that they have already good reviews but they're still underutilized, or that they're very unique, because I see some Airbnb listings, for instance, here in Kenya that are like underground, so you like sleeping in a cave or you're sleeping in a container home that's very unique, or in a truck and a bus. So they're very unique offerings sometimes, but still some of them are not getting the bookings that they deserve, because it's said it can be a pricing strategy issue, it can be that the photos are in the wrong order, that people don't even want to click on the listing, or it can be the description that this is not like really fulfilling or coming up to the expectations of the potential guest. So there could be many different reasons, but for you what's important is to check out different listings on Airbnb. Just scroll to as many as possible that are unique, and as said, even better if it's in the higher end areas, because for example, if you start consulting or being a co-host for a 2-bedroom property here in Nairobi, for example, your margins might be smaller. Let's say even if you earn 10% of their total revenue, and they can make a revenue of up to, let's say, $2,000 or $3,000 a month, you still will only earn $200 or $300. But if you go with the bigger property that's more unique, maybe in the outskirts of the city, you can charge much more money for the experience because it's maybe even bigger, it's more unique. So let's say we can charge for this property, let's say $500 a night, and you can rent it out entirely for the complete month. So they make $15,000, and you can take a cut of 10% of this. It's already $1,500 with more or less the same amount of work. So it's also an important factor to rather look for high-end Airbnbs or properties that you are not wasting your time too much with the smaller ones. But of course, in the beginning, I understand if you just want to start out, just grab one, but rather try to focus and target the higher paying audience, or like the audience of Airbnbs that are like in the more high-end area, that you also can make better experiences and build your portfolio and testimonies in this specific segment of clients as well. And once you identified options like this, you can then simply reach out via message through Airbnb. It also works, or on VRBO, wherever they are listed, wherever you find them. Or oftentimes another thing here is that often people also advertise their listings in Facebook groups or on Instagram, and there you can also have direct contact with the person who's in charge of it, and then offer and make your pitch and make your offer and see if they're interested in your service. So this video here is just to give you the idea that this is possible even, and I didn't go too much into that. I just want to show you the advantages of starting as a co-host compared to buying property or like investing heavily into furniture or more physical things on the ground and building a team and everything on the ground. Just that you get a feeling for it, especially when you're from abroad, how to start into the African market as an Airbnb host. From there on you can plan your next steps. So again, just to show you the advantages of starting as a co-host, is less time investment, it's less money and capital that you need to invest, and you can start this even today. So you don't need to wait until you get the next time to the African continent, to Kenya, to wherever you want to start this business in. You can start this right now and start to make money very quick, and much quicker than when setting up your property in the location of your dreams. And you also don't have to wait until you saved enough money or invest all your money into one single property where you don't even know what will happen eventually in the end of the day, even after conducting market research. So don't put your eggs in one basket. Start very lean, start simple. Don't go into the African market with a too complex business model. And this business model is also interesting for not just the foreigners here that are watching the video, but also for all the Africans, the Kenyans who are watching my videos very often, that you could also start this way your business. So I hope this helped a bit for all of you, and I appreciate you watching. If you have any questions, drop them down below in the comments, and I see you in the next video.